Well, good afternoon and welcome along to round number 2 here at the 12th E1 Charity Open. An exciting day on the cards today as we will cut the field down from 143 and get a better picture of what tomorrow's championship round will look like. We are here at Punam playing on the east course on the way out, the west course on the way in, with some brilliant scores already finalized today and many more still to come. You are very welcome back to the KLPGA Tour for the next 3 hours or so here in Hwasodong. As the first few shots are made, we can quickly review what's important in terms of our leaderboard today and where things stand after the first 4 hours or so of the round. It was, of course, Pungmin-ji, Sojin, as well as No Seung-yi, who led after 18 holes of play. This is Hung Yoo-min, who is a long way off the top. In fact, 12 strokes back of Pei So-hyun, the leader. She was on the green and off in the blink of an eye. Finds herself outside of the top 50 at the moment and is teetering on the verge of being on the wrong side of the cut line. A bogey at 4 after a day yesterday where she had 2 birdies on the front and 4 on the back 9. Strong drive into the fairway, which has been something of a theme. A very difficult set of pin placements in the opening round. Difficult to go on and attack the pin, and they are not much kinder today. This is truly championship conditions, a real test of bravery and technique. That's Lee Jung-min coming well short and well right of the putting surface. She's in a decent position just outside of the top 10, even through 6 holes. Now Peng Shin-shil, who is our defending champion. She won the tournament last year with a 9 under par score. Her approach shot is right on the money. With an uphill slope from the front of the green to the center and the backspin, she's not going to advance any further. Che Gabin, who is at 2 under, putting from the fringe on hole number 7. It was a 70 for her in the opening round of play. It has been 6 holes on the bounce with par. And she's going to try and fade this downhill. It's going to start left to right. And with a bit more speed, might have had a chance to come on back to the middle. The par 72 Peiram Club, 6,039 meters. 6,605 yards through the 18 holes, as mentioned, playing the east course on the way out, the west on the way in, with overcast conditions today, 26 degrees and a calm wind once again out of the west at 1.4 meters per second. Tomorrow things get a little bit dicier with thunderstorms forecasted, so we will see if that affects the round at all. But today, no real risk of rain or the storms from the afternoon to the evening. Lee Jung-min lofts up her shot as she looks to get up and down. It's a really nice touch from around the green. disappointing one to end the par streak. A loop around the pin and shot back out to the opposite side. Inching ever closer inside the shadow of the flag. Also a nice bit of short game play for Hung Min. This is on Sunju from the center of the fairway at 7. A very recognizable swing, and it ends up as a really good one. Back to Pengxin Xiu. 5-meter putt downhill for birdie. Not quite going to crack it. More on 7 with the approach shots trying to follow suit, but while she's on the green, there'll be an understanding that there is a lot of heavy lifting still to be done. To go back to 6, Hung Min, if she misses this par, she falls below the cut line, but steadies her nerves and executes with the putter. Next up, a highlight reel effort. Tee shot on 8 that has been very conducive. Of course, we saw Pengxin Xiu yesterday record an ace. But for a featured group, that's on the near horizon, but not quite ready for us right now. We'll stick on 7 for the time being and take an aerial tour. A significant drop by about 15 to 20 meters from the teeing grounds to the fairway. The end of the fairway leaves 55 meters to the front of the green, with the pin today well to the left. You can draw a line and follow the curve. Let's see, 12 yards from the front if you were to enter the green, parallel to the fairway, and close to the left side as well. Lots of different mounds, 5 of them in fact, sloping down and away. It causes a lot of attention to be played on those second shots. And of course, everyone hoping to set themselves up well. Driver, not the most popular club with the distance here. Lee Jung-min will play a hybrid off the tee and shapes that really nicely. 2 for 2 as Pengxin Xiu uses just about every available meter of the first cut. She lands not in the most difficult of lies, but in the rough nevertheless, Hung Yumin. First putt leaving a meter or so on the effort for par. Wedges it between the flag and in. No impact to the score as she will head to the next. Lee Dong-eun on number 9, the par 5, her third shot just inside of 100 meters. Needs to try and get all the way to the back here. Extra club required, certainly. And she's done precisely that. The backspin not enough to drop her down the hill. She stays in a good spot in that back quadrant. These 4.6 meter putts only have a success rate of 20%. Downhill makes the matters even more. Does really well there. Could have been very simple for Lee Dae-yeon to let the double bogey at 7 affect the way she finished this front 9, but gets one of those strokes back. Now on Sunju. Also navigated well. Good birdie to make it 2 for 2. And our first of the day, back to even, tied for 21st.
Yeah. 상황이 맞으시고. 11시.
We return to 7, and Tung Yumin seems nearly ready to play her second shot. Ball about 2 feet beneath her feet as she addresses it in the hillside rough with the wind slightly in her face, playing a high pitch and bouncing that off the fringe, and we'll get a decent little run. She'll have the option pitch or chip when she looks for birdie next. Jagabin gets in on the birdie party, her first of the day. Back to even after 8 holes in this second round. And Lee Jung-min on 7, her approach. Able to keep this one on the green, almost in the exact center of the putting surface. The rightful ooze and applause. Peng Xin-chil starting to make a pretty good start at a run towards the top 10. We go back to 9, Lee Dong-eun trying to move below par at the turn, and she's got it. Excellent way to hit the halfway. And even 36 for covering from the bogey on hole number 5. Lost the handle on the follow through. It impacts her quite significantly as she's gonna rather unfortunately stay on the green. That takes away her option to chip. And that leads us to our first break of the afternoon. Pae So-hyun has a 2-stroke lead after a 66 in round number 2. Lee Chae-eun, a part of the chasing pack in the clubhouse at the end of her round, in a really good position at that. She shares second with Hung Jung-mi. So Jean still possession of 4th and very early in her round. Peng Min-ji, a 73 today, drops her to a share of 5th. Same score for No Seung-hee, though she is only on hole number 7, and rounding out the top 5, Pak Do-young, who is at 4 under through 12 holes of her second round. We'll have more from Peiran on the other side of this short break. Stay with us. And welcome back to the 12th E1 Charity Open. Che, her second shot from the fairway on the par 5, trying to work this around the tree line, and is able to do so successfully while staying in the fairway. First effort with still 2 or 3 feet to go for Lee Jung-min, but can't really falter for it. She was a long way off. Now No Seung-hee, speaking of a long way out, from essentially the fringe, starts this uphill, and the speed will come back now. Was in 99 simulations out of 100 always going to take 2. And for Pang Shin-shield, brilliant opportunity for birdie, but lips out, and we'll have to tap in for par. Next effort from an almost identical position, bordering on the green, and how about this for an absolutely marvelous birdie putt. She is often the queen of that club and has a highlight reel effort on 8 to move back to even for the day. Yubin recovers with her par, and we will go now to the approaches on 9. Che Gabin will be the first to attack at 133 meters to the hole. Under the back left is where the pin is today. She goes back right, and we'll have a fairly straight shot to the opposite side of the green. (2:28 p.m. local time here in Gyeonggi-do. The second round of 3 of the 12th E1 Charity Open. Very comfortable day out on the course. Bit of a breeze coming off the water and overcast skies. To AT Jungmin and her 9-iron teeing off on the par 3. And that is really, really marvelously played. It was right on line for the flag as well. Let's take another look. She lands this within 2 or 3 yards of her ace. And I'm giving to round out the group. She finds herself in a fair bit of trouble as the only one not within 5 meters, if not closer, from the pin. That is a increasingly common landing point. The hillside rough, and sometimes you're lucky enough to kick back into the fairway. Well, an update on the players currently out on the course. So Jean, she remains even now through 5. No Seung-yi. Just a couple of strokes behind her. Also still in play today. Shin Eugene just getting started. EU Lean and Yi Yun So. Towards the end of those, still at 1 under par, an additional 10 at even, with our projected cut line at +3 on this Saturday at Payram.
플레이하겠습니다.
And welcome back. We rejoin the action on hole number 9. A bit too much speed to allow the brake to do its thing. Just the slightest of taps to get this started. Moving back the line, and Lee Jung-min will hang on just long enough to birdie. 5 and 8 now. She moves into a tie for 8th position. The putter starting to come alive. Up onto a flat part of the fairway, the top of the crest. Recovering from the rough, back to the fairway. That was going to be a tricky one for Bung Shin Shil from up the hill. And a heavily struck ball bounces off the back of the cup and juts back out to the left on the effort. Min Dong-eun.
앞에 멈춰주세요. 왼쪽으로 이동해주세요. 왼쪽으로.
Two ways of the flag to tell Lee Jung-min that she is in play, if not in the fairway.
주세요.
Second drive to the edge of the fairway. A good look down towards the shot around the trees, which is what has been completed by No Seung-yi, one of our co-leaders after 18 holes of play. A bit of a struggle for her today at this point. Bounces and rolls all the way to the back of the green. Lee Jung-min in the rough. The other two, including Hung Yoo-min, in the fairway to get hole number 9 underway. He's so young, fresh off of that master stroke of a putt, is able to come to rest just about pin high on the backstage of the green. (2024's race to the WEMIX Championship, ranking points awarded for every tournament, and a 1.2 times bonus heading into and through the major championships. At the end of the season, $20 million to the tour winner, a monthly MVP, bonus of 1 million Korean won per month. At the top 5 at the moment, Park Young-kyung, EA1, Park Ji-young, Hung Yoo-min, and Lee Jung-min.
살짝 내려가. 심하지는 않아.
Seung-yi from off the back, just a little slow trying to reach. Advancing down, as she'd be expected to. And now on Sunju. An opportunity to get back to even before the turn, but her work is certainly cut out for her. Right to left break. Good speed, just slightly misjudged. A nice drive that will hang on to the fairway on its left side. Quite able to replicate the same magic from the last hole. He's so young, but up for her par as she goes out with a 36. Punishing shoe closer to the green, and now shakeup and her pitching wedge, 114 out, starting the back nine, right beside the walkway onto the green, but down the slope, and we'll have a very tricky putt coming up. Do much to add to or even create some confidence. Just hasn't been able to replicate what she had done yesterday morning. She was absolutely scorching hot, no swingy. And just as the sun begins to poke through the clouds a little more, No Sungi heads to the 10th tee, going out with a 38 and dropping herself down to -3. It's a lot of green to work with, and Lee Jungmin, after missing the fairway off the tee, misses the green with her second. Plenty of carry wanting to ensure she reached the rear. Peng Xin-shil. Decent approach that carries over into this putt on 10. Shakeup downhill will be really difficult to do. Much better than her group mate, starting this well towards the fringe, looping back around. And she made it look quite simple. Update on the players still playing. So Jean fourth at 5 under par. And despite the quick shuffle of the leaderboard, we can tell you that we also have Pak Do-young hovering around the top 5. 9 under from Pei So-yeon remains the best score of the round to date. Our projected cut line is +3. That is currently 66 of the 144 players who entered the event. We had some withdrawals: Chi Han-sol, Pak Bo-gyam, Pak Hae-jun, Yoonina, Chun Ye-sung, Kim Ga-young, Sun Joo-hee, and Keep Soo-min 2 missing the cut yesterday with an 88 in the opening round. We'll have more from Peiram on the other side of this break here in round 2 of the 12th E1 Charity Open. always a tricky position to be in from the sand and needing to get to the other side of the green. Luckily, the contact was made very well, and Lee Jung-min has a chance at her par. Now Seung-yi now looking to turn the page on her round and start the back nine with a good drive. She has done that and reaches the fairway. Bang Shin-shil needs two. That is a perfectly even 36. All pars on the way out. She remains at +1. And tiptoeing closer and closer. But Yumin does need that extra tap. That was her chance to go out with an even 36. And Lee Jung-min did so much good work. But unfortunately for her, she's basically in the same position as she was when she started this putt, and now she's trying to ensure it's just one drop shot. And it's gone from bad to worse. Lee Jung-min will want to sprint to the next hole and forget about this one quickly. A double bogey. Just as she had cracked the top 10, it comes unglued in a matter of a minute. And no Seung-yi. Bit of an awkward one. Ball above her feet. Makes good contact, but can she shape it the way she needs to? With the pin on the right side of the green, it takes the bravest of athletes to try and get within 2 or 3 meters, knowing how difficult the stretch of rough there is just beside it. Now shakeup being at 11. Idayan at +4. And drops that in divinely. Should have a tap at birdie, which she will be the host, the first of many, excuse me, in the next 2 hours or so. As we are into the 3 p.m. hour now, we take a look at the 10th hole, a 346-meter par 4 with water on either side of the narrow walkway from the tee blocks to a fairly welcoming fairway. It is a generally simple hole at that, without too many changes of elevation, and then the look down to the green. That's where things get a little bit more tricky. A few different changes of elevation on the putting surface. The pin today is 23 yards to the front and 4 yards from the right, and it does bring that bottom right mound into consideration. And a beautiful aerial look at the Payram Club with pleasant conditions today. A break from the sun is not too shabby considering the heat already at the end of May. Bunsheen Shield, the powerful hitter, unable to guide that ball into the fairway. Long left to right, that it's closer and closer and just broke away at the end. Tap in par the results. We go back to 10. This is Hung Yumin. Just roll off to miss in regulation. The driver at times has been a struggle for her. Pound for pound, she is probably the most powerful driver on the KLPGA Tour. And now Jungmin just looking for a mental reset. And I said it's a fairly straightforward hole. It should be on paper with not a ton of wind today, but every single player in our featured group has gone into the rough.
고맙습니다.
We have Lee So-young next. Once again, basically aiming at the fringe, knowing the loop would come. It swerves out and stops some 2 meters underneath the hole. And now so Jean. On the par 3 8th, a downhill putt for her as well. Speed will be fine. The line ever so tight. A narrow miss to the inside of the hole. On the next challenge, slightly different path, being more to the center of the green. Not nearly as much break, but the uphill nature and the speed required denies No Seung-yi an improvement of her score. Anita Yan, a downhill tap, and a birdie found. Her second since the 8th. She is closer to even for the day. Still 3 off that score for the tournament. And So Young, no trouble to complete her par. And Sunju also the tap-in finish. Lee Dong-eun downhill and an expert putt that sees her return to even 1 under, tied for 15th.
해서 그게
네. 120 하면은 되게 비싸지.
We return to 10, Lee Jung-min the first on the approach, but her time on the green might be short-lived as she rolls back down the hill and will stop bordering on the fairway. From the rough, Hung You Mean, but not the kick she was looking for. Got a lot of the grass up with her. And now no Sungi. First drive is away. She is desperate to improve upon that 3-under score. How about Bungshin Shiel at 89 meters out from the rough at 10? Much, much better. No such thing as a straightforward putt. That doesn't break the mold either. Right to left putt with plenty of speed, wonderfully judged and expertly executed. Kanji Sun back to even, and you can count them up. That is 5 birdies now on the day. She is tied for 20th.
플레이하겠습니다.
Lee Jung-min will be hoping for a significant improvement on her putting here on hole number 10. Going to basically run the perimeter of the fringe. Does she have enough to get it to the downslope? Yes. And inches closer and closer. A stroke to build some confidence on Shirley. No swinging from the right side of the fairway next. A little bit deeper than pin high, but that's better. Much more akin to her performance yesterday. The biggest missing piece from Friday thus far is how well she putted. She was making some miraculous putts just about every other hole. Be a good time to have one of those now. Min on the very fine line. Should be able to navigate that left to right putt for par without much difficulty. This is Iso Young. Nice approach, right to left and downhill. I believe the forthcoming shot to be. It's quite literal when we say she has to get to the back of the green. We've seen players on 9 go to the back right when they want to be back left, and here, further along, the opposite is true. Peng Xinxi, she's the furthest to the pin, and played that a little too firm.
그리고 선수 3명 다 플레이 끝나고 이동해 주세요. 플레이하겠습니다.
It was going to be a tricky one for Hung Min, but she'll be disappointed nevertheless.
플레이하겠습니다.
Lee Jung-min to put the haunting memories from the last hole behind her. She was unsure of that putt. You could see she hesitated in the backstroke, but to knock it down. A recovery shot with the approach leaving a lot to be desired. Tap and par will be very much on the table. Sungi, she unfortunately remains snake bitten with this putter. Good approach. Played from the bend in the fairway to a modest location. So Young knew right away. She played that downhill putt into the wind that she wasn't going to have enough on it.
들어갔습니다.
Machine shield down the hill towards the bend. Following effort from Lee Jung-min, unable to land in the fairway as well, and that will leave Hung Yoo-min. So Jean, it was a brilliant setup shot and an even better follow through as she birdies to head into sole possession of fourth, 6 under and 3 back. That part of the game for No Sungi has been near the top of the field, driving consistently well.
Okay.
last of the drives. He's so young and company racing down to the fairway, preparing their second shots. And snake bitten and disappointed to not have the final roll or two of the ball to get all the way there. It's Hyun Serin who goes out with a 37. Less than ideal ending position for Lee Jung-min after floating it down to the green. Let's see what Sung Yoo-min can do with her second 88 meter. She has the 52-degree wedge in hand. Choked up on the club for a little bit more control. There's the backspin she needed. Punching Shield going with even more loft. 58 degrees, that's the benefit she has as a power player. And our defending champ with an opportunity to go on and complete that birdie. We will have to wait and see. Come back to the course. So Jean finally under par today through 9. She is 3 back of our leader, who shot a brilliant 66 in the opening round. That is Pei So-hyun. The projected cut has been updated to +4. Good news for Hung Yoo-min, who was currently sat beneath it. That means Kim Min-sun 7, Kang Chae-yeon, Hung Ye-na, Sherman Santi, Wawatananpong, and others still out on the course have an opportunity to climb on the correct side of the line. We'll step aside and come back to Peiram in just a few minutes. We'll rejoin the action on the 11th green. This is Lee Jung-min from a long ways away. These have been, in something of an ironic way, her best putts today. Perhaps biting off a little more than she could chew with that first offer. Let's see the latest with Che Gabin. Picking up speed down the hill. Call that 6 meters or so. And you mean frustrated by that? Likes to play So Young all the way to the back, but will side spin towards the fringe. That will be a lengthy downhill putt. And Lee Jung-min will have just enough to fully reach the cup and avoid a bogey. To play on down, no Seung-yi, well short. And now Pang Shin-shil. Maybe some left to right break here. Too much of it, didn't give herself enough room to start. Now Che Gabin. Left to right, the speed is there. Leaves herself with just the tap in. Stymied once again, Lee So-young.
플레이 중에 자꾸 카메라 버튼 누르지 말아주세요.
발견 안 돼?
자, 플레이하겠습니다.
Lee Jungmin begins hole number 12. She is in a battle with herself at the minute, crashing into the cart path, and now a question of where will that end up. Right there is our answer. That is a very, very, very fortunate kick out. Hung Yumin will be hoping for significantly less drama here. It's a really nice drive, the longest of those in regulation, but it'll be tough to beat Lee Jungmin, who probably got an extra 30 meters or so off the asphalt. Tiptoeing its way closer and closer, No Sungi finally gets one to fall for her. First birdie of the day comes at 12. Even if she gets back to the 5 under, at which she started the round, she would be trailing. Hasn't been able to sustain that early round success yesterday. To the front right corner of the green and drifting back towards the middle. .342 local time in Hwasodong on a cool afternoon. Still mostly overcast skies and 26 degrees for the second round of the 12th E1 Charity Open. No Sungi away and now. A trip to the par 3. A little bit deeper than ideal to land. Shakeup will take quite the ride towards the fringe. 323 meters makes this one of the shorter par 4s on the course. He's so young, with a significant amount of that distance played right off the hop. And Jungmin unable to escape the rough with her second shot. Now Pengxin Xiu advancing well through the fairway at the par 5 12th.
아니 제가 이 페인트 바로 위에 올라가 있는데 이게
You mean not quite ready to go? We know who is. So Jin, who might just have a chance to reach the top if she could make that putt. It was always going to be a complicated one. Gets some free relief from the sprinkler head, Hung Yumin. She's indecisive about whether she likes this or not. She won't be as big a fan as she goes into the rough. On and off the green, stopping in the hillside fringe. And now Chegabin, this looks awfully promising. But an early bit of break. Denying her that birdie, and now Follow-up approach. That is also going to leave a lot of work for you, So Young. Punching Shield up within 6 meters or so. Kangji Sun, another birdie, this time at 15, brings her under par with a very exciting day. Jungmin has struggled here on the par 5, shows you just how much she still has to make up. And now Sojin to save her par at 10. Left to right, but gone missed. Too much of that fall off to the outside of the hole. You mean from off the left of the fairway, 97 meters to go. All the way to the back, and in fact, too deep. She's going to roll into the rough, and that won't be the easiest up from that position. Now no Seung-Yi has to give this a really good strike from the fringe uphill. It's a good effort. So this is number 4 for Lee Jung-min. Bordering on the rough. Her heels are in it. Fast moving as it needs to be. A lot of ground to make up. Excellent shot. Rightful applause from the gallery. No, he's so young for birdie. This won't lack speed. A 2-footer, all that remains. Moves on after the par, and now Hung Yoo-min. Let's see how she fares from this spot in the rough. Her fourth. Has to try and stay close to avoid bogey being a consideration. Or how about she just goes on and birdies? She came awfully close to it. And this is how it looked from the opposite side. Really impressive display of short game. And no Sungi. It's a 7-iron on the first of the par 3s on the back 9. Pungshin Shiel. She's been chasing this even par score for some time, and we'll have to wait at least another hole. She plays too much speed. Unfortunate for Hung Yumin, who might have been on for something really special, but takes the detour. Able to save the par, though. And Lee So-young follows suit. Can call it pin high, but well to the left. Jungmin also to save her par. Nice read of the putt. And Pungshin Shiel trying to continue the run of pars we've seen. Not the even she wanted. Late round push is looking less likely, but certainly not impossible. That's a great bounce, and with the wind calm, it's a decent judge of what was required. Looking out to the mountains here in Gyeonggi-do as another group reaches the tee. Swinging a long drive from Pengxin's shield, just avoids the bunker. A long way back and nearly a very impressive hole out. Chungmin trying to play the cut. Her driver's been giving her a few headaches, but avoids the worst of it despite not being in the fairway.
자, 플레이하겠습니다.
샷!
Perfectly down the center of the fairway. Shakeup, we find her in the sand on 15. Rides the line, the border of the green, but from the sand, that's really nice second shot. No Sungi at this point will be satisfied to be within 3 or 4 strokes before tomorrow. She can take it from there and hope it's more of a Friday performance than what she's been able to do today. And so Jean momentarily dropping out to 4th, but right back to that 6 under score on the very next hole. So Young, that is the par that she sought. The edge of the green to 3 feet shy, Chegabin. Good one for Lee Jung-min, who's not been striking the driver that consistently today. But her approach game has been significantly better. And now Peng Xin also from the rough. It's a 58-degree wedge at 89 meters. Bounces at just about level with the green and rolls on out. I mean, that is right on the money. Into hour number 3 and coasting to the finish. So Jean back to that 6 under par score. Pak Do-young still 6 back through 9 holes today. Pak Yeo +1 on the round, just inside of that top 20. Our projected cut, it remains at +4. That's the score that Lee Joo-mi is today, a 76, as she just misses out on even. Peng Xin 6 holes to go. That's where she is looking to head on this Saturday afternoon at the 12th E1 Charity Open. That is Lee Jung-min recovering well for her par as we return to the Peiram Club. Peng Xin just over a 1/3% likelihood. That means 2 of every 3 of these don't find the cup at 3.6 meters. And the reason for that average for the season just proved once again. You mean just trying to identify the break point? This +4 leaves her with absolutely no margin for error if she wants to make the cut. Right to left, this should slide. And too much break. Underestimated the amount it would carry. And she does dip beneath the cut line. She still has the holes to find a birdie or 2, but for now she is looking as though she will be bowing out before tomorrow's final round. Six iron and 150 meters for No Seung-yi. Will be looking to be roughly parallel with the top of the first bunker off to the right. It's a great skip through the fringe, but now it needs to dig in. One of her better ones, certainly of the back 9.
자, 플레이하겠습니다.
Five holes remaining for Lee Jung-min. Just 17 yards down onto this green. Needed to be significantly more to the right than that. And stops up on the hill. That'll be a lengthy downhill look to go to 3 under. On a 3 for Sojin and slightly uphill as well. Takes a carom towards the outside of the green, but has a really nice slide back down towards the pin. The closest thing to a challenger as we have at the moment. 3 back prior to this whole beginning. Punching Shield, the tee shot on 14. 153 meters. It is not quite the longest of the par threes. Of course, she had her ace yesterday, back at 8 to win a bet set worth over 40 million won, which is a nice prize to go on top of a lifelong memory. Punching Shield was her first professional hole-in-one. And you mean again, loses the grip. She is fighting the mental game as much as anything. She knows that the pressure is ratcheting up. Onto the green, but work to do. Has not birdied since the 16th hole yesterday. Did not participate in the Tucson match play. Finished tied for third at the NH Investment and Securities Ladies Championship. Back-to-back top 5 finishes for the winner of the Tucson ENC Weave Championship earlier in the year. He's so young, starting the long way back, leaving herself with about 6 feet for par.
플레이하겠습니다.
Slightly underhit for Punching Shield from off the green. By no means a certainty that she'll make that par. And No Sungi, who has been right on the precipice of returning to that 5-under score, but stymied once again, this time on the par 3.
플레이하겠습니다.
Well, no official yardage for Lee Jung-min, but it feels like it's north of 15 meters and downhill. This is going to go quick. She played it fairly conservatively. Be still 3 or 4 meters, but at least it will be a flatter putt.
네, 안녕하세요.
He's so young. Completes the hole. We go to 12. Just past 1 meter uphill, a little bit of break. So Gene to move within 2 and still very early relative to the featured groups we're watching closest, but we're certainly I'm very interested to see how quickly she can close the gap. Hangs on just long enough for another birdie. That is 2 strokes off, tied for second now, back to back and 3 in her last 4 holes. Well, the good news for Hung Yumin is that the projected cut has moved down, but she would still like to give herself a bit of wiggle room. She's going to stay at +4, heading to 15. Tough tee shot, asks a lot of her putter there. So now Peng Xinqiu needs this to save a par. Right to left goes the break. Nicely done under the pressure for the defending champ. 14 holes through today, 14 pars. Has literally not put a foot wrong. Jigmin looking to do the same. Again, she hesitates in the backstroke, and the lack of conviction impacts the result. She'll be going down once again. In fact, she might have hesitated twice on the pull till she wasn't confident at all in her alignment there. Well, the bogey drops are outside of the top 10. The second of the day, plus that double at 9, has seen her drop quite a ways from where she was to start the round. Let's go to 16. No Sungi. Mentioned the length of this par 3, 170 meters, and she's gone for the hybrid. Sails it past the first couple of feet of the fringe and the downhill nature of the hole as well. Always going to be tough to stay on without landing a little short to start.
들어가겠습니다.
It's business as usual for Bungshin Chil. Down the hill into the fairway. We, in the meantime, head back to the 16th tee. This time it is Lee So-young, and the 7-iron might help her out. She swings herself out of her shoes, looking for that little extra power, and that is the benefit of being able to play an iron. We'll keep her on, but only just. Well, driving the ball today has been a struggle. Outside of the top 40 in strokes gained off the tee. Only 30% of her drives on the par 4s have found the fairway, and only 1 of her 4 on the par 5s have done so as well. Not all that different for Lee Jung-min, who is able to avoid the sand but has also struggled. 111th in strokes gained off the tee. She is hovering around that 43% mark for the second round. Over to 18 next. Kang Ji-sun at 101. Needs to stay on the front third and look towards the left side. Just about perfect. Could have used a little bit more power in the swing. And at 4:30 p.m. local time, we get ready to step away again. So-jin got that second birdie on hole number 12. She moves within 2, the closest to our leader, Pae So-hyun, in this Saturday second round of the 12th E1 Charity Open. We pick things up back at number 15, Lee Jung-min. This is the approach shot from the rough and will just trickle on to the green, but a long way away. Kang Ji-sun looks to end the round. That's 2 under for the tournament. An uphill putt for birdie. Line looks pretty good. In fact, it's right on the money. Into the top 10 with her final swing of the day. And a really good effort towards the end to go on the climb, considering she shot a 74 yesterday. A 68 today is a big bounce back. That's up 54 positions from where she had started. Hang Yumin has dug in to the end of the bunker here. So, in some serious danger of missing left. Short on top of it. Probably a bit fortuitous to be on the fringe, as she can play the flop if that's the way she determines is the best path to par. Now Peng Xin-Xiel going to be narrowly off as well. So she'll have the option chip or putt. 73 yesterday for the defending champ. Has parred every single hole thus far today. To 16. Still tied for 5th, No Seung-Hee. Almost a pitching wedge-esque backswing. Needing a lot of speed. But for someone who has been so close so many times to reaching the score that she started the day with, she's not out of the woods with that putt to save a par. Lee Dae-yeon also at +4, the score of Hang Yu-min on 17. Her approach gets a really good kick to the left. So Young just on the green. It's 10.5 meters to the hole. Birdie is a bonus. She's already had 1 of these putts from long range today. Can she make it 2? Needs to get back right. About 0.5 meter will be the putt for par next. And speaking of long putts, Yoon Se-rin, a very impressive birdie on number 13, but it's satisfactory to have an unchanged score after a fairly short approach on this par 4. Decent amount of break this too. Not enough to bounce her off her rhythm. Even for the day and the tournament, 2 birdies and 2 bogeys with 5 holes to go. Only 3 for No Seung-Hee. This the par save, and it will have just enough. A little bit lucky to escape. It's a difficult front 9 with a bogey at the top and tail. The 1 right away on 10, but The second one continues to be fairly elusive. This is Hung Min, who goes right at the pin and has the perfect line, if not for the speed. Bounces off the front and back of the cup and jets out to require a putt after all. Now Idaeon downhill 5.5 meters to go to +3. Here it comes. The line just about was there. She tried to walk that in. She thought she had it. She'll be disappointed simply because of how close she came. And now Lee Jung-min, here she comes, drifts over, and she too, nearly with a highlight reel birdie. So Jean with right to left wind and a left to right wind and right to left break on the putt. Asked a little bit too much that time. Machine Shield just about jars it from off the green. Good touch with the pitching wedge. And her consecutive par streak will last another hole. No Seung-yi, smooth and powerful. The drive into the fairway. You mean a fine line and comes incredibly close. But the driver rears its ugly head again. Lee Jung-min survives unscathed. 2 putts for the par. And Yumin the same. No, excuse me, not the same. She does drop to +5 despite the polite applause, doing, I'm sure, very little to soften the blow. Two really good approaches to the back corner. Take a look at the view from the opposite side of the pond of the island green 16th. And we push in to find our featured group just arriving now. And the first of the efforts, Peng Xinxiu and her iron, a good one, fairly straight and inside without incident. Jungmin next. Lands in the center, but rolls off into the rough. That's showing just how wide this putting surface is, in fact. And even more of a struggle, though this time no Sungi searching for the corner. Always the risk of playing too fine a line. Hung Yumin is about to find out. Fascinating shot here for Sojin. Unfortunately for her, she goes to the corner as well on number 14. Jungin on the final hole, hoping this is her final shot. It would bring her back to even. Starts it above the hole, does not break until she was level with it. A difficult trip on the way in as she shoots a 38 and stays at +1, 10 back. The updated leaderboard, Sojin, she's on the green with plenty of work to do. Kang Ji-sun, that's 68 confirmed. Pak Chan with a good day as well, 69 for 1 under in the tournament. That is 18 players under par, 9 at even. and an additional 120 or so over. Our expected cut back to +4, which leaves Hung Yumin hanging in the balance with only about 30 minutes to go on this Saturday at Payrom. Welcome back. Somewhere beneath the crest was Hung Yumin. Had to be very careful with how she had herself aligned with the pin mostly disguised from her view. And no Sungi from up on the hill in the rough. A gentle pitch, and she goes right at the pin and loops around it. That was remarkably close to a hole out for the birdie that's been just slightly out of reach all round long. Back to 16, Lee Jung-min from the rough. Her play from around the green has been the best thing about her game today. It saved her from a much higher score, that's for certain. So Jean still about 7 feet short of the flag. It was not the ideal approach by any stretch. And now Bangshin Shield. 8.3 meters out. Would be her most impressive putt of the day. The break comes in right away, then straightens out. Looks back in disbelief, saying, how has that gone missed? Lee Dae-yeon had one similar to that where she just breezes over the edge of the cup, but asking her caddy, what more can we do to get that birdie? She's down to 2 holes to play today. 17 is next for that group. It's where we find Lee So-young right now. So Jean makes one of her rare mistakes today. She's certainly not going to rush through this. All of a sudden, it's a putt for bogey. It's back to back now. She's gone in cycles, ups and downs, and has relinquished 2 of the strokes that brought her so close to the top. Yamin comes close. We get a miss over the inside. She has a miss over the outside. Back-to-back bogeys for her as well, and if she doesn't have a big turnaround of the final holes, she will be bowing out of the tournament here. That week away might have just thrown up a huge speed bump from some really good finishes of late. Lee Jung-min makes it 0 for 3. No Sugi on a nice run, still bogey free on the back 9, but only the 1 birdie is the most notable aspect. Reminder of the race to the WEMIX Championship, the top 5 in KLPGA Tour points. Park Young-kyung, EA1, Park Ji-young, the top 3. And we've reached the end of our 3 hours of coverage here today. Let's go through the highlights of the round, and we start at the beginning, because it was a red-hot start at the very beginning for our top 2 players in the field. Birdies were falling left and right, with the West course seeing the bulk of the action early, and it was really 3 players from the jump who were making the biggest of splashes. You could see 6 birdies in a very short amount of time for Icheon 2 and Hung Jung Mi. This on 14, and the first to reach 9 under was 7 on the day to that point. She was absolutely red hot from go. Okay, so again, she was up to 9 and would manage her way back in with a little bit of drama on 8 and 9. Bang Min-ji, disappointing 73 today to concede one of those positions. And we go to this for the shot of the day, an approach to just a foot or 2 to the inside of the hole. The putt of the day, well, it's without question. We actually saw this one about 2.5 hours ago. Lee So-young from the fringe, and somehow the perfect read and execution of that lengthy putt. It was her first birdie of the day. It came at number 8. 2 under is the score it would take her to. She has been in a battle ever since to try and stay there. And a late charge that is still in progress. So Jean was able to go out with a 35. Taking her to 6 under is where she remains. She would bogey 10, get one back at 11, and then this setup shot at 12. Have a really nice roll and fade back down towards the center to the inside of the hill. And she'd make this 1.1 meter uphill putt to go to 7 under par. At that point, had been within 2. She gave up one of those strokes immediately following that hole, and still has 4 to go to try and make as many of those strokes up and get into tomorrow's featured group. It is a massive field, this 12th E1 Charity Open. Over 140 players began. We will whittle that down to nearly 70 in the next 45 minutes or so, and when we take to the air tomorrow, we will know who will be starting the day with the lead and who is poised to go on and challenge to win this tournament. Peng Xin-Xiu looks like it will not be her defending her title, though should have enough to crack the cut, projected at the moment at +4. Bad news for the likes of Hung Yoo-min, barring some kind of late round miracle finish. At the last refresh of the leaderboard, we have 70 players above that teal line, and about 25 minutes after we sign off for the rest of the field to go on and chase it, to try and get into the final round tomorrow. A reminder that our final rounds and their respective coverage begins 1 hour earlier tomorrow. That means we will be on the air at 1 p.m. local time here in Hwasodong. But that's it for us today. For Moving Day Saturday of the 12th E1 Charity Open, on behalf of our SBS Golf crew, I've been Adam Jenkins, signing off from Peiram. We will see you tomorrow, where we crown a champion in this most recent event, back to stroke play here on the KLPGA Tour. So long, everybody.